cabbage soup. Step 1, an onion, 2 carrots, 2 stalks of celery, and the hard stemmy pieces from a half of a cabbage, if there are any, go into a pot with a tablespoon of oil. Olive oil is fine. And we're going to saute these until they're a little bit soft and translucent. Today I'm using yellow carrots, so they're not that noticeable, but any carrot will obviously do. So that's step 1, cabbage soup. All right, step 2, I got a half a teaspoon of chili powder. And I did put a little salt and pepper in here when I put the veggies in. And I have about a teaspoon of dried thyme. If you had fresh, you could certainly use that. And we just stir that around. Very nice and aromatic. And next we have 2 garlic cloves. They're going to go in. And they don't really have to cook much, especially since it's a soup, they'll cook in the soup, but they'll give it really good flavor. So we'll put those in. Stir that around a bit. And the next is the chicken broth. So I have 4 cups of chicken broth here that I made. It's fresh. So we're going to put that in. You can obviously use canned chicken broth, any kind of chicken broth that you like. All right, I'm going to mix that in. And you can see it's got a nice color now from all the sauteing of the vegetables that we did, the chili powder. All right, and 2 cups of water. And lastly, 1 chicken bouillon cube. And we're gonna let that go for a while and come up to a simmer. And while that's coming up to the simmer, we're gonna put in a 15-ounce can of cannellini beans. Any brand will do, with the juice. So the juice of the beans is going to give it really good flavor and texture, so you don't have to drain them. I would not, for this dish, substitute another kind of bean or use fresh beans. I would definitely use it out of the can, but I don't know. That's me. Maybe another can of bean would another type of bean would work. Again, this is a recipe that I've learned or made over the years. Definitely, we can think about substitutions. But the recipe calls for cannellini beans. That's what we're going to use today. All right, we're still coming up to the simmer. We are going to add 1 can of tomato paste to this concoction here. So I'm just adding 1 small can of tomato paste. That'll add a lot of color and some nice thickness to the soup, along with all the other ingredients. There we go, until this comes up to a simmer. All right, we're now up to a really good simmer. And as you can see, next to me I have the cabbage. So it's all shredded and cut up nicely to go into our soup. And I also have today, fresh from my garden, this is about 16 ounces of fresh tomato. The recipe calls for a 15-ounce can of fire roasted tomatoes, which you can find in the supermarket. But when you have fresh, why use canned? So here we go with those. Be careful. Juice, seeds, everything goes in here with the fresh. So be aware of that. If you use the canned tomatoes, you won't have any of the seeds or the skins of the tomatoes, so you might like that better. And the fire roast would give it a really nice flavor as well. But today we're going to use the fresh tomatoes because it's August and we can. So we're going to put in all of this. This is a half of a standard green cabbage. Nothing fancy about the cabbage, but it is cabbage soup after all, so we have to have cabbage. Again, if there's cabbage has any hard stems but they're edible, we want to put those and saute those earlier on so they get a little soft. But the rest of the cabbage, the leaves, all they need to do is wilt down in here and they're going to make a fantastic soup. So that's what I'm putting in right now. And all we do is stir that in, and you can see now how thick this is when you add those last two ingredients, the cabbage and the tomatoes. And the recipe just calls for bringing this back up to a simmer and letting it go. I'm going to put a cover on this and just tip it. I have not put any cover up until this point so that it simmers quickly. But now, so I don't lose any of the goodness of the soup, I am going to put a lid on this and let it come back up to the simmer and simmer for 6 minutes. And then our soup will be done. So we'll take a look at it at that time. All right, so our soup has been simmering away with the cover on for around 6 minutes. And wow, it's looking good. So we're going to turn that heat off and just give you a good look. You can see the color has really changed. It's a nice bright, vibrant red. The cabbage is cooked down, the tomatoes are cooked down. And this is basically ready to serve. What I like to do with it is top it with a little bit of fresh basil, chiffonaded fresh basil, and a little bit of Parmesan cheese at the end. Put it in a really pretty bowl, and you've got yourself a little bit of the summer garden in a bowl. So Sandy's cabbage soup, I hope you try it, and I hope that you, like I say, from my recipe box to yours, make it your own and use what you have in your garden to make a spectacular soup for your families. Lastly, you can freeze this soup. It freezes really well. I usually put it in 4 or 5 cup increments and stick it in the freezer, and then you have really good summer flavors in the middle of the winter. Everybody, take care. See you again soon. Bye-bye.